fresh in the flesh. Funky fresh in the flesh.
What up, though? This B-Boy Reg, his Funky Fresh in the Flesh podcast. And we got special guests in the house. Gentlemen, welcome back. Well, welcome back home.
Appreciate
Mr.
you, brother. Thank you, brother.
What's going on? You all right?
I appreciate you for having me, man. It's been a long time coming.
All right.
I've been here a few times, and I've always wanted to do the show, and I guess that time never, it hasn't permitted, but I'm here now.
Right. Cool.
No
Glad
doubt.
to have you.
No doubt, brother.
Yep. And this your second time, right?
Yep. Half deck, one half of KryoGenics. Shout out to my man Bobby Seals.
Yeah. That's what's up. What's up? Second time around is good, man.
Yes, sir.
I had to bring my man Half Deck with me.
Yeah.
I'm here for this big show, the Barcode at the Marble Bar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Half Deck has always been down with the crew.
Right.
My guys, the MF911, who I came up in the game with and was able to get my first record deal with them I started with. So,
Right.
Deck would come around as a youngster and kind of roll with us to the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Tell me about that. So when y'all got signed as a group, what year was that?
Well, we got signed in 1992.
Okay.
And
what label was that?
Next Plateau.
Okay.
Polygram,
Salt and Pepper was on that label?
Salt and Pepper, Civil, Paperboy.
Yeah, Ultramagnetic. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
When we got to the label, they had left Next Plateau. So,
okay.
The actual story about that one was when I called Next Plateau, I had no idea they weren't on the label anymore.
Wow.
So I had called Next Plateau one day. I was sitting in my home, my grandmother's house, and I was like contemplating, thinking how we were going to get this record deal. There was no record labels in Detroit but World One Records, right? And World One Records was the cream of the crop. They were our cash money records or whatever.
Right.
So as an artist, I just don't think I was. They had so many artists in the city coming at them. So, what I did is I called record labels, and I really didn't call record labels. I called one record label.
Okay.
I called Next Plateau Records, and I had just devised a plan in my head to call these guys to see if I could get Ced-Gee's number to to produce one of these acts I had in Detroit with this make-believe record label that I had. So I called them and I, let them know I had a lot of money and we wanted Ced-Gee, the producer. And they was like, well, Ced-Gee is not at Next Plateau anymore.
Wow.
They said he's over at Mercury. So Mercury was also a branch of Polygram, as was Next Plateau. So he moved over there, but Ced-Gee had kept his good rapport with the people of Next Plateau Records.
Right.
So with that being said, Ced-Gee, they give us Ced-Gee's home phone number.
Wow.
And when I call Ced-Gee's home phone number, I don't really know what to say because I had already told everybody that I was this big record producer. So when his mom puts him on the phone, I'm stuttering. So I'm like, long story short, man, me and my partner are your biggest fans in the world. And we wanted to know if we could come down to New York and present you some music.
Wow.
And he was like, nah, man, just you can't come down to New York and present it to me. Send it. And then if I like it, I'll have y'all come down. And I remember I was specifically on the phone. I was like, look, man, I'm sure you tell everybody that shit.
Right.
Just please give me an opportunity to come down and display the music. So with that being said, boom, we sent it. He liked it. I went down there. We recorded a couple demos. And he took us back to Next Plateau, the record label that he had just left. That he just left. But he had a rapport with the owner. And, he's like, cool, this is my group. So, that's how we...
So he introduced y'all as his group.
As his group to the owner who he had a good rapport with, Eddie O'Loughlin.
Okay.
And that's we go down there in October, and we record with Ced-Gee in October of 91. By 1992 of, I want to say, February, March, because I was in college playing college basketball.
Right.
So by that time, 92 March, he says, February maybe. He calls me on my dorm room at Concordia University in Ann Arbor and says, I think I got a record deal for y'all. And I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, what? Because we ain't got no following in Detroit.
Right.
Me and my partner, we guys from the neighborhood, and we don't have a lot of friends, and we don't have a hip hop forum to go to promote our music. So it's not like anybody in Detroit knows who we are anyway.
Okay.
So we had to leave the city, essentially, to link up with Ced-Gee to go get our record deal. And that's what we did. So he got us at Next Plateau Records. He got us a deal that was, he told us in February that they wanted to sign us. I want to say in March, they sent us the checks. And in May of 92, we were down there recording at Next Plateau in the Bronx, New York, with Ced-Gee at his apartment, Ultra Lab.
So did you leave school at that time, or you stayed?
Nah, man, I never left school, bro, because college basketball was just important to me as being a rapper. Yeah. It was 50-50, and plus I already had the understanding how hard it took me to get to the level of being able to play college ball, only playing 1 year of high school basketball, you understand?
Right.
It was hard to even play that 1 year. I went through a lot of rigmarole to get to that 1 year. So there wasn't going to be anything in the world that was going to knock me off of playing college basketball. Rather, I played at the littlest school in America or the biggest school.
So your love for basketball was just that great?
It was just that great. And I know I wasn't going to be no pro, but I knew my window was only like 4 years of college. So I knew life was moving. I got a girlfriend finally, and music was the passion. I know that would be the long term. I already knew that music would be the long term because of my love and passion for it. So
your mindset was like, I'm going to take advantage of basketball while it's here, but long term it was going to be music.
Of course, yeah.
Because when I follow you, like I follow you on Instagram, and that's one thing I admire about you. Yeah. You have a way of balancing things. Yeah. Like we see you in your family life. Then next thing you know, you're in Germany performing. Next thing you know, you're at work. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a way of balancing that. It sounds like you always had that, because there's like a few rappers we know that played college ball and they like quit or dropped out. Right. And you was just like, I'm sticking with it.
No, man, my story is really even crazier than that, because I was married while I was playing college ball, and I had a baby. And the only way that we could initially survive as a couple and with this baby was that I had to live in my ex-wife's dorm. Wow. So I lived in my ex-wife's dorm with her, with our baby, because our colleges were next to each other. She went to University of Michigan, and I went to Concordia, both in Ann Arbor. Right. So to cut costs and have more money, I just lived in her dorm for a year, so we ended up having a baby and everything. So, no, I wasn't going to. That was one of the big reasons as MF 911, we didn't tour a lot. Okay. So you didn't hear about us as a household name in America, even though our records sat in every record store. You didn't hear a lot about us because we never toured. Right. And the time when my album came out in October of 1993. Right. Remember, we signed our deal in 92. So in 1993, October 1st, that's the first, that's basketball practice. Right. The season start November. So, we doing basketball practice on October 1st. So I got a video out nationally, all over the world. BET.
You was hooping in a video, right?
Yeah. I was hooping in the video. Right. We had just shot the video summer of '93, August, and I'm actually hooping in college games in November with my album being out. My album was out in October, and I'm playing ball in November, so it was.
So
was
wait a
no
minute.
time
So
to
before
tour.
Master P did it, you was the one, right?
I was doing it. I just was the one. I went on Master P's level.
Yeah, but
I went on his level, but I did it.
right.
And I knew the importance of doing it because as a young man, I didn't possess the skills of a all-world athlete.
Right.
I was flat-footed and, 6 feet. I can't jump higher than anybody.
Right.
And I'm not shooting from super deep,
Right.
but I could shoot and I had great ball handles and I was self-taught. Right. So while the other kid could run super fast, I know I wasn't going to be able to catch him, but I just had to figure out a way that I could compete with him on that level. So that was just my whole premises on how I kind of went at things musically and just actually, not just musically, life-wise.
Right. Let's talk about, so from a competition standpoint, that crosses over into your music as well. Let's talk about like some of the people you work with, because I seen you like with Havoc, Killer Priest, Ras Kass, like some of everybody. So like how did you go about making these connections? Did they come back from your label days, or was just over time? How did those come about?
Some of these guys go back from my label days, and to be honest, we were 1993, so our album comes out in 93. 93 is like I guess you could consider it a golden years or pre, because Snoop Dogg came out.
Right.
Hip hop was changing.
Right.
And I think me and my group, my partner said we were caught in the 80s. We wanted our music to sound more 1980ish.
Right.
Where everybody was going 1990ish. And, as it connects and parallels to how it ended up being known as the Boom Bap King, KRS comes out with Return to the Boom Bap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Ced-Gee was telling me that hip hop was changing. And I remember when we were in his studio, the Ultra Lab, recording the MF 911 album, he was like, and the drums don't sound like our drums was sounding on the Critical Beatdown 1988, boom, boom, dabba, all around, all over the place.
Right.
He was like, man, the drums go like this, and boom, boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. So Ced-Gee said that to me first in 93.
Right.
I think KRS-One came out with it in 94.
Oh, yeah.
So Ced-Gee had the foresight telling me, and he tried to explain to me and my partner what we needed to change our sound to. But me and my partner said we were always underground, so we were fans of Tila Rock. So and those guys are the late 80s, EPMDs or whatnot. So we wanted our shit to be grimy.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So if we would have had, let's just say if we'd have worked with Dilla for the whole album, or if we'd have had somebody like RZA, or at that time, who was in the city, you might have had Maestro from Chaos and Maestro.
Right.
I didn't get with DJ Los on music and his energy to after we recorded the MF 911 album. But the thing, what I'm telling you, brother, is we didn't have anybody, right, that we could collaborate in Detroit with, because, again, we were put on in New York by a New York producer who lives in New York with a New York record label, and they know nothing about Detroit. They only know about what I tell them about Detroit as far as who I could go to or work with for beats. And me and my Ced, we were producers, but we were not producers. We were developing producers.
Right. Okay.
You follow what I'm saying? Versus some guys who had an ear just to that sound. Like, we were able to do some things with Dilla, but we were always thinking, what if we actually really logged that time and let Dilla do the whole album? We could have gave Dilla, we could have gave Dilla a couple thousand, but our record label, Eddie O'Loughlin, he didn't want to give the publishing.
Okay.
For Dilla or Ade Maynard, who was working with us. He didn't want to give up publishing to these guys. Right. So he was like, well, nah, let's go back to the original. You guys do the beat, or let Ced-Gee do the beat. So it was a lot of confliction, but I guess all in all, at that point in time, hip hop was changing.
Right.
And we were, as you know, around '93, we were behind in Detroit still in what.
As far as production,
just far as production,
industry and everything,
yeah,
the music business in general.
Our producers sound different.
Yeah,
you know.
But if y'all would have had a Dilla album, it would have been ahead of its
crazy.
time.
It would have been crazy
at that time.
Well, we could have been the first ones,
right?
And it, you know, I've had so many hit and misses in my life,
right?
Where, you know, if I'd have played the long game instead of the short game, so you know, that's also if I would tell somebody coming up in music and just coming up in life, paralleling that to life, you know, don't play the short game,
right?
Because on so many opportunities, I played a short game and missed out on the bigger picture.
The bigger picture.
You understand what I'm saying?
You mentioned something about Ced-Gee earlier. You mentioned that you called the label. They was like, he's gone, but his relationship was still tight. And I think a lot of people coming up, they don't understand when you leave, you don't have to be enemies or you don't have to leave on bad terms. Man. Because you look at how that played out, right? They could have easily been like, no, he's no longer here and hung up. But that connection was still made, and he brought y'all back to that label.
It is.
Right? So that was a good example of how not to burn, why not to burn bridges.
Man, listen, you're so right about that. In this industry, just being a part of Detroit hip hop in some sort of way. I was just having this discussion with KryoGenics, right? Detroit hip hoppers or Detroiters in general, we don't do a gang culture type of thing because, we about self, you know what I'm saying? So, we burn bridges from time to time, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you should hold it.
Yep.
And, I know that I have been a part of that kind of situation where, my mouth and speaking up has been one of my best contributions to my career and to things that I've wanted to attain and the people I work with. But it has been a detriment as well because, there's some bridges that I burnt that I wish I had never burnt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then because I look at guys who have worked with me, in the industry and, I can have a good rapport and then you just got these bad apples, a few bad apples who, I guess things didn't kind of go what they wanted to go like. So instead of trying to work around, it's, man, let me just shit on that next man. And at some point in time, you're going to need that man again.
Yeah.
And we've all seen this in this industry where it comes back. It comes back to either to help you or bite you in the ass.
Yep.
So the great thing is I remember doing the recording of the album. I got mad with Ced-Gee, right?
Right.
Because I was just like, I have felt that maybe he didn't give his our MF 911 album the best effort, right?
Right.
He was recording and working on a new Ultramagnetic album at the same time, which was Funk Your Head Up.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So I felt like me and Ced Rat, I thought we was getting a lot of the C and the D beats.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So in your mind, you thought like, okay, he's keeping the best beats for their project and just throwing y'all like the scraps.
Right. And I think, when we came down there to record the album, he thought we were going to bring in a bunch of beats.
Okay.
As producers, because we had keyboards and stuff. But when we came down there, we was like, nah, man, we ain't bring no beats. We trying
Y'all
to get
just
all the beats from you.
Right.
You're
Y'all just produced enough to put something together. But right.
Exactly. You said, G, the whole part, the premises about this is getting this from you, getting the production from you.
Right.
But I learned because, Ced-Gee taught me a lot of things. So, but just as a younger man, I was angry and pissed off, like, yo, he's not doing this right here and he's not doing this right there. When it wasn't really like that, as I look back, I was like, well, he's the one who put us on.
Yeah. I think a lot of artists kind of do that. You listen to artists like they maybe leave a label or they fall out with somebody.
Yeah.
Then you go back or you hear them talk about it like, yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Or I was in the wrong mindset.
I was in the wrong mindset because I burnt that. I felt that I burnt that bridge with Ced-Gee.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Though, even though my Cedric in my group, Ced Rat, he has a great rapport with Ced-Gee. He's still doing things.
Right.
And the older Anthony is like, yeah, Ced, this guy's the one who put us on. Right. We didn't have a record label in Detroit, and he could have got any rapper in the world. Right. And he chose us. So that's just what, I guess if somebody was listening to this, that's what, maybe burning the bridges, or not necessarily burning the bridges, just knowing when to hold it. Yeah. And fold it and walk away and run. In the words of Kenny Rogers. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So, yeah, man, I think with this show that we're doing here, the barcode with Killigans and Ali, they're trying to dispel that notion of what I was just speaking of, where, I hate on you, I don't want to see you, I'm going to burn the bridge. No.
Like, we can work together.
Yeah, we can work together. No matter if you burnt the bridge with this rapper or this producer or this person or that person, it don't make a difference. It's all over. Come on out. Yep. Do the show, rebuild those relationships with those people, and let's continue and build up Detroit hip-hop to be something bigger and better than it ever was. And, with Ali and DJ Los and myself and Killigans and some of the people who got their hands involved in this, I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to bring some Detroit unity back.
That's good. Hey, speaking of production, I see you often, like, with Havoc. How did that relationship come about?
1 second. Honey, where are you?
That's that work-life balance.
Okay, well, you're going to have to come in. I'm doing the interview. This is very rude of me, but I didn't want to leave you hanging. Bye. Love you. Okay. Yeah. Is Roq-Z out there?
Yeah. So while we're waiting, how did the relationship with Havoc come about?
Oh, man, the relationship with... Come on in. You come on in.
Come on in. Yep. Yeah, how you doing?
What's up, now?
All right.
This is one of my other partners, Roq-Z, man.
How you
one
doing?
of the guys I've done the music game with for the last 100 years.
All right.
I would also consider him a member of MF 911. You know what I'm saying? He came in the 90s right after our album. Okay. And he came in with the second stint and everything else that we've done since then. So, he's coming through to support and give that good energy. Yeah. So continue as you wanted to go with Havoc. Yeah. Yep. The relationship with Havoc was simple as this, man. I was on tour with Public Enemy. Chuck considers me, and I guess the guys consider me a member or so, like one of the newer members. So I was fortunate enough to do, 2 or 3 tours and work with him on music as a producer and an artist. And he's just somebody that I had a relationship with in the beginning of the game. So we was doing the tours, and we did the Art of Rap tour. So I was really building with Havoc and Prodigy during those tours. Yeah, rest in peace, Prodigy. Right. So I had done shows with them previous years out in Houston, and I guess when we did the Art of Rap tour, we just kind of built a cool friendship,
Right.
of not or something or not because, we were rocking each city together.
Right.
And I had always been fans, and they were always like my number one group. Them and Wu-Tang.
Okay.
So
you know what? Just the reason I wanted you to speak on Havoc because I seen some things where when I was following you, where he actually showed up. It's like y'all relationship is deeper than just music.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like I'm like, dude, he at your crib or something like that coming over. I think it was like something going on with the family. He showed up.
Yeah. No, what happened is when I did the Art of Rap tour, I had my son with me a few tours and a few of the shows, and my son was a Mobb Deep fan too.
Yeah.
So he was able to come and hang out with Havoc and Prodigy and they would kick it with him and everything. Right. So, with that being said, I had a really cool friendship with rapper Noy.
Yeah, okay.
So me and Noy just always kept up. With that being said, I was able to book Havoc on shows and be a part of the crew. And he just kind of took a liking to me, it really didn't really have nothing to do with us doing music together or anything. He just kind of, I didn't know he liked me like that as a good human being.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's, this guy is on another level of the game. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, a few years ago, my son passed away. Yeah. And when he passed away, Havoc immediately called me up. Like so many of my other good friends from Detroit and around the world, and it was just like, yo, AntLive, what can I do for you?
Right.
And I was like, oh, we good financially. I don't need nothing. Just support.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I said this call means a lot because my son got 3 or 4 different pictures with Havoc and Prodigy at different shows or whatever. Yeah. So they remember that relationship and that rapport that they had with my son doing these shows and the rapport they had built with me doing these shows. And he was there at my son's wedding. I mean, at my son's homegoing.
Homegoing, right.
You know what I'm saying? And just to support me and my family. And it was special because it was like, I have family members who I was close to that it wasn't there for me. That I really would. It would have been cool to see their face. I lost my son. He was only 21 years old, and he had 2 kids of his own at 21. 2 sons who I help take care of now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, with my wife and their mother, and for him at that point to show up at my door, that just kind of. With death, I don't know. Everybody deals with this death thing differently. I put my faith in God, but it was good to see good faces and like, whoa, wow, I appreciate that support. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when people go through these transitions in life. I know now about losing my son, we all need that support. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just a friendly voice. Somebody to do something nice, send you. We had people who would send us. We didn't need money, but people send us paper towel and different things. So that's the same thing
just
he
the
did.
Love and support that pours in.
He did,
and that's why I wanted to point that out because, you look on Instagram, people will follow you and say, oh, he's with Havoc and this and this and that. But it's beyond the music, right? Yeah. And I think people got to get to that, regardless of how high of a celebrity you are, it's like building real relationships.
That's what it is. It goes. My relationship in the game and just working with people goes back as far as Chuck D because,
Chuck showed Detroit so much love.
So much love, man.
I remember him being on MTV and they was like, who you listening to? Now he held up Breed's album.
Yeah.
You remember that? I think the whole city went crazy, man, seeing that. Even though it was Flint, but it was still then to see him come down to Mama Shoe events and stuff like that. It was
that was I brought him down for that.
Yeah, I know.
I was that was a big thing for me, man. You know, I love Detroit.
Yeah.
I've been gone since 2007. But I love the city and I love the hip hop scene, and I just kind of like working with the artists. This is a very Detroit, like I just said, we are a very, you know, self place where, you know, we are about self, you know, and it goes to show because we ain't got no gangs and stuff like that. Guys ain't ganging
up. The only thing you've seen is people get money together, and that's about it.
You know, and that's kind of a hard thing. Yeah. That's why you see so many drugs and crimes and shooting, because, you know, niggas can only get money together for so long because, you know, they start calculating shit. No, I could get more by myself. So it, unfortunately, you know, come on, I'm just keeping it real.
Right.
But, you know,
let me ask you real quick. Speaking of Detroit, where do you see the difference between a younger Detroit artist that's out now compared to back then? Because you had that major label exposure, and then you see the young guys now and their exposure and how they're representing the city. Do you think they're just working together more, or what do you think the biggest difference is between?
The game has evolved.
Okay.
Okay. You know, when I started out, and I heard the Sugar Hill Gang in 1980, right? As far as back I can remember, it was maybe 79, 80, but I heard that song, and I seen how it evolved from novelty, where guys you had the rapping Duke,
right, and
you had these novelties and the Pee Wee Herman, right, and then it turned to serious, conscious rap, and guys weren't just spitting words, they was trying to spit knowledge. So I've seen it evolve. Right. When we started in Detroit, brother, we didn't have a scene. We didn't have like a scene like Philadelphia or a scene in Boston or a scene in New York. There was even a scene in LA. We had none of that. There was no go-to. So when I think about when you say how have these rappers changed, well, they seen what we didn't have.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So you think they're just they seeing like, hey, the older guys couldn't do it because they didn't have these opportunities, and there's
an opportunity now. I mean, in the 90s, this was after my deal. See, this is where my frame of thinking it was kind of miscued in so many ways even back in the 90s, because since I had a record deal in 1993 and I had a national album out and I was on a major record label, I did not think I needed to be in anybody's hip hop shop and freestyling and rhyming in ciphers with niggas, because I had already been there, done that. I already had my own studio. Right. I was getting my own money, so I didn't have to go out and, as my man Lob Manifest says, rap for change. Right. I didn't have to do that. It was the wrong mind state to have, but it was honestly being the truthful mind state. So these young rappers and from Detroit, they running the game now. You understand? Because they understand we all, and if you from Detroit, you got a hustler's mentality. Right. You come up like this, my nigga. Right. You know what I'm saying? Whether you work in the suburbs or, you know, you live in the city or you from Southfield, you from Detroit, this is a black city. You know what I'm saying? I know they got Atlanta and everybody, pound for pound with the demographics and the amount of people that we have in Michigan, black people, we crowd the space more than anybody. Right. Because, you know, coming up, I never had a white friend or a Mexican friend because I lived nothing with black in my city. Right. You know, unfortunate, that's what it was. Unfortunately, I learned a lot, but we didn't have options. Right. These young boys got options now. Yeah. You understand?
And more opportunities are open.
Come on, man.
Right.
And more opportunities. And we already hustlers, so they were like, shit, I know how to get money. Right. All I got to know is how to promote myself on the kind of rap that I do. How do I get this following? Okay, I get the broads. I got a little bit of money. Right. Even now, even as an artist now, when we was coming up, I was just telling somebody else the other day, we didn't have recording studio in the 80s, so that's why me and Ced's music, when we did MF 911 in the 80s and we started it out, it was good, but it still wasn't on the par of where we needed to be on that timetable at 88, 89 because we didn't have access to the equipment and everything. Yeah.
Okay. What's your thoughts? So we talk to a lot of artists that are like of age, if you want to say that, because I remember vividly being like in my 20s hearing like a 34-year-old guy rapping. And I was like, oh man, it's kind of corny, right? Right. But then you get 34 and dudes still rapping, dropping, going double platinum. You like, wait a minute. Then it's like, okay, maybe 50 is the age where it's corny. Then that's starting to change.
Well,
so it's like
hip hop, it evolved though. You know what I'm saying?
So it grew up with us.
So that's the whole thing. It grew up with us. So like if it started in '73. Right. It's growing right along. So you wasn't going to see a 50-year-old rapper like when you was 20 because it was just coming along. But now it's, rappers going to be 50, 55, 60, maybe even 65 because it's growing and moving along with the time. That's what I think.
So how do you stay motivated, you know what I'm saying, with a career, you know what I'm saying, wife, kids? How do you stay motivated to just keep doing music, like dropping content, albums?
Oh man, because
he OCD with the music, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if nobody. I was telling somebody this the other day. Like OCD with music is AntLive. Like if this guy got to do something, it's got to be music based.
So it's just in you. It's
point
just
blank,
like,
no matter what.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Some people I think, I'm glad I'm not on drugs or anything because if that was my thing, I think that I would do it to an extent where I might hurt myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Or if you quit, you'll be a whole different person.
I'll be a whole different person. Music at this age, I'm 53 years old. So I've considered myself a real rapper since 1983.
Okay.
All right. So that's when I was like, yo, I think I can do. We changed from, me and Ced changed from when we started our group. We started with a band.
Yeah.
Playing Michael Jackson and Prince songs.
Right.
You follow me?
Right.
And then around 83, 84, I was like, yo, we need to be rapping.
Yeah.
And then it changed to that. I started it, and then Ced came along, and he was boom, 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 or however. Right. But I have a drive in me, man. I may not be here tomorrow. Right. I know what life and death feels like or looks like because after losing my son, you know what I'm saying? When it's not like lost my grandmother because I was out of her house. Yeah. You follow what I'm saying? So I was able to live on my own, become a man, structure my own shit, build my own family, have my own. So with life and death, you'd be like, damn, that's gone. So while I still have the opportunity, to breathe air out my lungs, this is what I like doing. Oh, okay. A lot of times it doesn't pay. Right. A lot of times I'll be putting on some shows or help promoting or booking some shows, and I'll get the budget and find out, damn, I just used $500 out of my $900 out of my own budget, and I had a $5,000 budget to put this shit on. So it's just, but I understand it. I charge it to the game. What did I get out of it? I got some things. I got a video, the visual, the legacy. I got grandkids, I got family. So, the hope is that I can inspire somebody else. When Jay-Dee said, what is it, 30's the new 20 or some shit like that back in the day. And, I really took that shit to heart. I'm like, he's doing it. And the dopest rappers, they're my age right now. As we, as it relates to Roz, Kaz, and Tash. I travel around, I book these guys. And I book artists as well as being a rapper. That's what makes me a viable commodity in the game at 53 and still a way for me to expose my new music.
Your art,
You understand what I'm saying?
Wait, hold up. Speaking of new music, because we interviewed Chaos, right? Mm-hmm. And my understanding...
One of my favorites.
there was like a super group.
Oh wow!
What was it? You, Chaos, Big Hurt, and
no.
Who was
Fat Father?
I think they call him
Fat
the Fat.
Father.
They call him Fat Father. So it was Chaos.
Okay.
Fat Father.
Right.
Playboy D.
Okay.
Charles. What does they call him? Charles Lovejoy.
Okay.
We had Darnell Murphy.
Okay.
We had Chris Cobb. We had myself. And we had this guy named Sterling Tolles by the name of Individual.
Okay.
So it was 8 or 9 of us.
Right.
I had the studio at this time, so I was working radio.
Right.
And FM 98, I was Bushman's co-host or whatnot.
Okay.
So I just, Chaos was my favorite rapper.
Yeah.
And I had this idea to put a super group together. I had the studio, I had the means, I had the connection with Next Plateau, who I had just got dropped from as a group.
Right.
But I still kept a rapport with them. So the idea was to create this super group. So I had these young kids from high school. Fat Father's name back then was Boz. And he brought 2 other guys from the Lovejoy and Playboy D from the east side.
Right.
So I'm at this point in time, I'm like 25 years old. So I'm in my first job as an educator, as a teacher.
Yeah.
So dig, I'm a teacher from 8 to 3.
Right.
I'm on the radio from 6 to 10 at FM 98. In between there, I'm running my recording studio out of the Ford building next door.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm doing all of this. So I wanted to, I'm a Wu-Tang fan. So, these kids, I live on the west side or in that area, and these kids, they live on the east side. So my boy Darnell Murphy, he who was a member in the group, he kind of introduced me to the kid's nephew, and the 3 kids happened to be Fat Father,
Right.
So I would pick them up, bring them to the studio, produce the beats, rap, engineer, and then I was a young father. My baby was 1 year old. I had a wife.
Right.
Try to get them home some sort of way, and put this together. And it was really a super group.
Okay.
And we got to the end of it. I think we recorded for about a year, and when I came with contracts and different things of that nature, because I had a demo deal set up with Next Plateau for them. So
for the group?
Yeah, for the group.
Okay.
So
right.
Dale Rollcap of Next Plateau was like, "Well, do you got these guys signed? Because we're not going to move on anything until we got them signed." So when it was time to get them signed, after we recorded, we recorded maybe about 20, 30 songs. It was a lot of songs.
Right.
And after the guys didn't want to sign the contract. You know what I'm saying? So, I think I had put a good year into it.
Was it because they didn't like the contract, or was it they just didn't want to sign and be committed?
Well, I think they would have needed lawyers because the contract was a contract that we had. Right, for Next Plateau. So I was able to get it edited down to...
So it was like a template, right?
Just a template. Just a template.
Right.
It's not like we had the internet now. We can go get the real shits and how you wanted to do it. It was just like, I just needed something to get them signed so that I could progress forward with a major. Because back then, or a record label, it was a little bit different. Guys weren't going to work with you and get all these people you involved without it being some sort of paperwork in advance, because the ideal was to get a demo deal with 5,000. So in the end, the guys were young. I was more insulted, you know what I'm saying, by them not signing the contract after I put all of this work in, and they were young guys. So, I understand, but it was a missed opportunity for us.
Yeah.
So, years later, I was able to do the foundation again.
Okay.
A year later, I was able to do it again with new guys like Roq-Z and my buddies in MF 911, and was able to do some things. And from there, you know, the guys were able to take that and tour with Run DMC and hit different cities as the foundation. So, you know, I was glad that I was able to help guys like the Fat Father, who is now one of the biggest artists coming out of Detroit, and knowing that in the beginning, I'm the studio you came to make these songs. In the beginning, I'm the one who took the time to work with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Through the good, through the bad, or whatever it may be, I took that time, and to see his development, not only as a rapper, but as a father, because from what I see with this guy, he's always promoting this kid. I think his son raps. Okay. And I had always had my daughter at the studio with me at all the time when I was rapping. So, you know, hopefully I inspire a lot of people. As my daughter, she owns a hair product company called TGIN, Thank God I'm Natural. It's based out of Chicago, and she's her product is in every store, not in the country, but around the world. Okay. So that same little girl that used to be in the studio with all of these guys is now doing some big things on her own self. So yeah, I had a part in some good shit in this hip hop game.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Hey, you had I seen you promoting an event. I think it was like a tour you was doing. It was Ras Kass, Killer Priest. Who else was it on that? I don't know if it was Corrupt. Anyway, when I first seen it, I'm like, man, he got everybody. I think one of the horsemen was missing. That was my job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, he got 3 of the 4 horsemen.
Oh yeah, that was one of the tours that I had in Texas. So it was a Texas tour. So that was one of the tours I booked and promoted or whatnot. And I took those guys that had the 4 horsemen. And and it was marvelous. It was a nice turnout. The only one that didn't show up for that was
Cannabis.
That's who was missing. Okay.
And I mean, he's such an outstanding brother.
Yeah.
I got to build with him, but on that tour, just wasn't a lot of money.
Right.
In that tour.
Right.
So Cannabis was like, I make more money on my 9 to 5 than this. So, you know, we respect this. Even, you know, I don't do this to get rich, brother. I'm an assistant principal in a high school in Houston. Okay. So
wait, how is that managing that? What, like, do the students know you rap? Like, do they follow you?
They have all come. A lot of them are finding out that I rap now. All right. So yes,
they ever present you with demo tapes?
Yes, no, they present me playing my videos for me in front of my face, or walking by me with their phone loud playing my music.
That's funny.
And you know, a lot of times I don't even give it no, but they're high school students, so they more knowledgeable than you and I on how to work shit and find out shit. So. Yes, I do have a high school that of students who know that I'm a producer and a rapper, and I tour and I do music, and I'm glad because I want them to see, you know, no matter what you do or what you know, you can still do what you want to do. Right. Like my man, you know, Rock, you know, he's been in management, and I've seen him grow in his company in management, and he's evolved as from like. First, he was just a rapper, and then he became a producer, rapper, and then he started engineering. Now he's one of the top videographers in the city when it comes to this hip hop and just in general filming. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a special thing.
Yeah, so it's that balance. You still gotta provide and eat and still work within your passion.
And that's the energy just within me. I'm just a self-motivated guy, bro.
Let me ask you this real quick. Being a principal and educator since you was in your 20s, do that impact the type of music you're putting out, or do you just separate the two?
I like to be AntLive. So the great thing is I'm not a gangster rapper, but I am from Detroit. Right. And there's a certain story that I tell and things that I've seen in my life. You know, you got some rappers who are metaphors and they're punchline rappers, and they can shit. You don't want to battle them like guys like Raz Cos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He can twist some words up. And then you got guys like my rapper, you know, Ced-Rat. You know, if we go into the group MF911, Ced-Rat is the old school rapper who can put them, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maney is the more metaphoric. I was the more storytelling one.
Okay.
Who was the more graphic one, because I'm the one who was, I guess, more in tune to street, maybe because of my environment that I lived in the area that I live in, the things that I was dealing with or that I seen coming up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, being a black man in near between North End and 12th Street off of 3rd in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah, I seen a lot, and then, you know, being light skinned and, you know, proper, articulating my words a lot of times. So it was a lot of, let me hold my space down type
you a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So I had to build this other type of energy in me that, nothing is going to stop me from what I got to do.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And if you can't help me, I'm gonna get it myself. So 9 times out of 10, bro, I'm gonna be honest, I may know these people, right?
Right.
But it was me who put this plan together and this drive together. Nobody motivated me. Nobody had, because I don't, I listen to people. I just kind of look at the outline, but I'm not a detail guy, right?
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? You may be able to read the book and comprehend all of the details and all of that shit. That's just not how I worked as whatever this was I've become in my life, this person. I understand the blueprint.
Right.
I don't really understand the details. Maybe my ADD doesn't let me comprehend it like that.
Right.
But I can find my way through the blueprint, through the bullshit in the blueprint, and you know what I'm saying, cause and effect. Let me.
You can get to what matters. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's how I've been able to make it.
So with your because it's a lot of rappers, I'm just coming off the top of my head, like, damn, if they was a principal, they be fired in a heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, you saying the students walking, even me when I used to rap, I don't want that shit to come out, but the students walking by playing your music in the school, you can walk around with pride, like, hey, I'm putting out something that won't get me fired, that the students can be proud of, and that they can listen to with respect.
That's right. That's right.
So when you're in the creative space, are you not thinking about the students, or are you just saying, I'm AntLive, this is who I am naturally?
Oh, no, well, everything that I say, as I've grown as a man,
right,
and understand my place in life, and what my words mean, right? Because your words say a lot, man.
Do you ever listen to some of your old music and be like, man, what was I thinking?
Yeah, man. My album, one of my favorite albums, Cocaine Niggas, right? I put out an album called Cocaine Niggas in 2014. At 44 years old, it took me 2 years to work on it. I was working on it from 2012 to 2014, and it was just me trying to give you and weave this drug story, this crime story out, right? And I even did a movie to it, and I wrote a movie and we put it together, and I had my son starring in the movie, and a lot of the dialogue, usually is hand to hand. You know what I'm saying? Just different things. I regret doing that album because I think maybe, I don't know if I affected my son with that album, right? Because my son was heavy in helping me do some of the filming. He was acting. It's a movie I put out called Blown. Okay. And it was attached to the movie Cocaine Niggas, right? Okay. So at this time, my son is like 12, 13, 14, because I'm, and I'm really intense into this album.
At that age, you kind of...
Right, so he's impressionable, right? You know what I'm saying? So as my son kind of grew, he kind of got this, even though he was born in Detroit, he was raised in Houston. So he got this tougher facade and this physique about him.
Okay.
And you know, sometimes I always wonder, you know, he left here at 21, but his energy was like, yo, I've got to go get it. I got to go get it. I got to go make it happen, right? So I was just thinking, like, okay, well, what if I didn't do an album like Cocaine Niggas? And what if I didn't have him acting? You know, in this movie, we weren't selling dope. He was hustling CDs. Okay. But it was still the same.
Still mentality.
Still the same hustle mentality as slinging dope. So, you know, just in some real life, you know, I always think just as a man, as a father, and like that, you know, I know I did a lot of shit that may have affected you and something, but yes, maybe I shouldn't have been talking like this as much. Maybe I should be talking like I talk now. Right. You know, I'm just talking about life and growing and building, which I did back then, but with a more angry connotation to it.
It's more mature now than at that time.
I've grown, you know. Right. I understand. You know, it's not like I had, like in the 2000s and 2010s, like I had a manager or a producer or even a lot of people giving me input. I only had a handful of people that would give me their opinion because I cut myself off to people in the industry when I'm doing my stuff because, for example, I got everything. Right. So I never needed to go to a studio. I never, people like, yo, man, I never needed anybody's studio in Detroit. I always had my own shit. I don't need a cameraman. I don't need nobody to edit. I always, but so it didn't always work to my advantage. Sometimes it worked to a detriment. Right.
Before we wrap up, man, any tell us about projects that you're working on, who you collabing with.
Man, I've got a new album out called Noah's Ark, right?
Okay.
This is the album I started working on in 2022 before my son passed. So so it took me 2 years. I just put it out maybe in December, and it was just a oldie to my son where I was just writing what I was talking about, how I was feeling. So I got some of the most amazing rappers like Roq-Z on it, my brother right here. He gets in on everything I do, you know.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? So it's always an honor to have him. He's one of my favorite rappers in Detroit and just somebody I've been blessed to work with. I had Roz Kaz, Tash from the Alcoholics, Ed O.G., and I've just got this album was an English-based album because I was on tour a lot when I was recording it in England. And my videographer, Dave Payne, doing most of the videos and everything. So while we here on tour to do this show tonight at the Barcode, we got a video we doing with Tash and Freddie B and Lo Lewis. So we're gonna and then we got another one before I leave up out of here tomorrow. Sunday I got a video with, and this is produced by DJ Los, this new project. Okay. So all of these songs where I'm telling you with these guys, this is produced by Los, which is incredible.
Oh, that's dope.
So I got a song with my man Roq-Z called I'm on the Roll. And we got to shoot a video for that before I leave because I'm going back to Houston on Sunday, and you know Mother's Day is Sunday, so I got to get it in, bro. So this is how AntLive works. Y'all hear me and you see me talking, and you could probably see all the ideas because I'm multitasking. I got the wife in the car, she got the food. I got Roq-Z here. We got to be at a rehearsal at 9 o'clock. Right. I'm so thankful that you took the time to even work with me and talk with me and let me tell some of my story, and my guys to support me, and just I'm shouting out Detroit hip hop. Yeah. Detroit hip hop. It's just been most incredible, and this show is going to bring us back together with unity.
That's dope. Where can people find you at, man?
Oh, man, you can find me on Instagram at AntLive _ Boom Bap Kings. Or you can also on Instagram, Boom Bap Kings. Facebook, Anthony Singleton, MF911, AntLive, Boom Bap Kings. And then you can also go to my website, boombapkings.com. But the main thing is just stay with me for all of you people who are watching this and going to watch this too from beginning to end. My story is a story of inspiration. So, you know, maybe whatever I'm doing may not be the right way all the way through because I don't know everything, but maybe it's something that may inspire you and make your life better.
Right. All right. Thanks for coming out, man. When we out funky, fresh in the flesh, and that's a wrap.
No doubt. Peace.